Okay, so who do you think is right here? Because on one hand, we have guys like Andrew Tate who say that reading books is a complete waste of time, or even Alex Becker, he's mentioned multiple times that reading books is a very bad way to learn things. There's other ways to go about it that are much faster and efficient. But on the other hand, we have guys like Tai Lopez who are constantly talking about the importance of reading books, or even guys like Naval Ravikant, or if you go to the Forbes list and you listen to most of the billionaires, they all agree for the most part that reading books is very, very important. So who is right? What is the truth about books? There's truth to what Andrew Tate and Alex Becker say, especially when it comes to learning modern skills, because these are constantly changing. Like if you want to understand online paid advertising like Facebook ads, every single year the algorithm is changing, the platform is changing, the systems, the strategies. So you need a constant inflow of information to be good at this thing. Even most courses, when they come out, I would say like after 3 or 6 months, they become outdated. But at least a course, you can update it. The problem with books is that you cannot update a book. And the thing is that by the time a book comes out, it is already outdated because books take a long time to write. They have to be approved and then printed and then distributed. So by the time a book comes out, like it's already too late. And most of the things in that book are going to be completely useless. So if you want to learn these sort of things, like I would say, yeah, for sure, like books are useless, or even if it's like SEO, or even things that are broader like e-commerce, I don't think books are going to be that great. Now, at the same time, another problem that books present is that they give the fake illusion of progress, because you're actually learning things when you're reading books. But the thing is that we perceive learning as a part of a journey to achieve something right here, because we see learning as the way to start everything, right? So here you have the beginning of any goal that you could possibly have. And we believe that right here you have learning or researching. But the problem is that since it's not defined how much learning or researching or preparation you should do, a lot of people just keep stretching these more and more and more and more. And it almost feels like the only thing they're doing is researching, learning, and investigating. And to them, it feels like they're making progress, but they're actually not. Because knowledge that you don't use is wisdom that you don't have. So you're just wasting your time in a way, because the foundation of achieving any goal is taking action. This right here is not correct, okay? The foundation of things is not learning and researching. If you don't take action, nothing will happen. And this applies to any topic. There's people reading a lot of books and taking courses on relationships and dating and psychology, but they never take action. Like they're not even able to go on a date, even though they have all these knowledge. But you have to use that knowledge. Otherwise, that wisdom doesn't exist and you're not doing anything. You're not getting anywhere, even though you have this fake illusion of progress, because it feels like you're learning things and going somewhere. So it is because of these things that these guys are like, okay, you're just reading books. Like it is not something that you should be doing, especially when what you're trying to do is to achieve tangible things. And I do believe they're very, very valid points. But let's look at the other side and let's see what these guys say. So in the same way that I was saying that reading books is not good for modern skills and modern things you want to learn, books are great for old skills. And not just skills, but like timeless principles on everything, on human nature, on how to manage yourself, on how to make better decisions, self-management, money management, relationships, health, spirituality. Basically, old problems equal old solutions. Also, the cool thing about books is that they can give you ideas from other topics or industries that you are in. Sometimes you can be reading a biography about Jerry Weintraub, who was a massive Hollywood producer, and that maybe could give you an idea for your e-commerce store on how to do something on your website or your email marketing, whatever, because you can start to draw connections in how they do things in another industry and how you could do it in yours. I think if I remember correctly, that's how Red Bull got started. I think the owner was once flying on an airplane and he was reading some article about something completely unrelated, and that's what gave him the idea of starting Red Bull. Now, another cool thing that books give you, and I think this is a massive one that's very, very important, is that books give you clear thinking, which leads to better speaking, better writing, and better decision making. And when I say clear writing, I mean in terms of comprehension, okay? Not literally like my writing skills. I know that my writing is pretty bad. And the thing is that when you're consuming social media, your mind is completely scattered. It's jumping from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, and it's not able to focus on one single thing, which is what is required to do these things right here. So if you read enough, you can condition your mind to be in a permanent state in which you can do this optimally. And that's why I believe that books, in a way, can be a form of meditation. Because if you think about it, like there's many ways to do meditation, but one of the ways people teach meditation is to focus on your breathing, which basically the reason why they do that is because they want you to focus on one single thing. And when you're reading, you're actually doing the same. You're just focusing on that book. There's nothing else. You're not thinking about anything else, or at least while you're trying to read, that's what you're practicing. You're trying to put all of your attention and all of your consciousness into that book, which again, the benefit of this is better speaking, writing, decision making. And also the cool thing about books is that they lead you to pondering and self-reflection, because a book is not just about about the thing that is being explained, but how does that fit into your life? It is not the same to read a book today than the same exact book 10 years from now. It is going to be a completely different experience. You're going to get different things out of it because it's about how you're digesting those ideas and how they fit now into your life. So the outcome is going to be completely different. And that is done through pondering and self-reflection, self-analysis, which, if you think about it, is the exact same benefit that you get out of mentors. I'm not implying that a book is better than a mentor, but it somehow can be similar, because the cool thing about mentors and people that can help you one-on-one is that they can understand your situation exactly how it is, and they can give you personalized advice. And if you grab a book and you're able to meditate on it, sit on it, give it your complete focus, and then you start to do this pondering, self-reflection, self-analysis, you can start to get these customized solutions for your own life. Now, as amazing as all of these things sound, because I know exactly how all of this sounds, it sounds like as if books are this magical thing, which I believe to some extent they are. The problem is that not everybody can experience these benefits, and those are usually the ones who say that books might not be that useful. And the reason why this happens, the reason why a lot of people cannot experience these benefits, because these may be what happens to you. Like what I just said throughout the entire video, maybe these are the things that you've been hearing for years. Even people like Tai Lopez, Naval Ravikant, other billionaires, whatever, you've heard these things over and over and over again. But when you sit down yourself to try to read a book, it doesn't feel like this amazing thing that I'm describing. So I believe there's two reasons for that. So I would say it's either a skill issue or a book selection issue. So when I say skill issue, what I mean is that the more books you read and the more you read in general, the better you get at it and the more you can get out of books. The reason why a lot of people cannot get valuable things out of books is because it's difficult for them to put their entire attention to it. Because there's different levels of attention that you can put into something. Maybe you're just at a superficial level in which, yeah, for sure, you're reading the words in the book and you're reading the sentences and you kind of understand what the book is talking about, but you're not fully there. You're not completely absorbed, which is kind of what happens when you're consuming social media, when you're watching some of these videos that are super highly edited and they're so engaging and you're sucked into the story and it feels like, man, you can remember every single detail. Everything is making a lot of sense. One of the reasons why that happens is because they're able to capture your attention very efficiently. But if you can train yourself and be used to reading books, right? Be used to the medium of just sitting and looking at a page, which I would say is a skill in itself, like meditation, right? Everyone technically knows how to meditate, but two different people doing the exact same thing can have two completely different outcomes from meditation. There's people who meditate and they're like, oh, I don't feel anything. Like, what's the point? And then there's people who meditate and it's like, man, this is incredible. This is completely life-changing. Well, it is the exact same thing with books. Some people read and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Some other people read and it's like, it's not that valuable to me. Well, the people who say it's not that valuable, I would argue it's because it's a skill issue. Now, the second reason that I mentioned is book selection issue. So a lot of people, they read books just because they've been recommended by authorities, because someone said like, you have to read this book is really good, and you start reading it and it's like, it's not that interesting, but everyone says that I should read it. So then you go, you try, but maybe you're not interested in that topic, or the book is not resonating with you because it's not the right time for you to read that book, or maybe the book is just bad, okay? Like sometimes some books go viral, or for some reason people agree like, oh, this is an amazing book. So for example, for me personally, I believe that Rich Dad Poor Dad is a horrible book, but everyone is obsessed with this book and they're like, oh, it's amazing, it's amazing. So everyone, a lot of people go into it and they try to read it, and maybe they don't enjoy reading because deep down it's a pretty bad book that you should not be reading, and now because of that you might be giving up completely on reading. But the issue was the book that you have selected. Now, for those who say that they don't have time to read, or reading takes a lot of time, here's the thing. You can read books when you're not working anyways, when you have free time, which, let's be completely honest here, that's a big chunk of your day. There's barely anyone who's working 24/7. Yes, there's been points in my life when I've put like 16-hour days, but that's only been like on short periods of time, and it's not always. Those are very exceptional times in my life when I'm doing 16-hour days. And the older I get, the less I do this, to be completely honest with you. Now, when I say these sort of things, some people, when they hear me, are like, oh, but then you're not going to be as successful as you could be. But it's like, okay, whatever, like that's not the point of this video. And also, like, people who say these kind of things and they pretend, or they think that some people are working 24/7 and they are also working 24/7, like, I would love to see their screen time on their phone, on TikTok, Instagram. I'm sure there's like 30 minutes, 60 minutes, even hours there that they could be better invested if you were reading a book, okay? So that's kind of my point. I'm not saying to replace your work time with reading time, but replace the other things that you're doing with reading time. So the whole time thing is it's a silly argument that makes absolutely zero sense. The only tricky part is to replicate the effect that social media has on you with books. So when you're consuming social media, it just feels like this magnet that's pulling you towards it, and it's very easy to get addicted to it. The thing is that once you get used to reading books, you can recreate a similar effect, and you can start to feel like this craving. If you're reading something that's very interesting, you start thinking about it even when you're not reading that book. But the problem is that it's very easy to let go of that, okay? So once you start feeling that magnet towards a book, don't let it go, because you can lose it very, very quickly. So who is right? Should you be reading more books? Should you be reading less books? That was kind of the point of the video. Here's my personal take. I think that books are like supplements. But the problem is that some people nowadays see supplements as the foundation of health. But you will not go anywhere if all you have is supplements. The foundation to health is sleep, your diet, hydration, a little bit of exercise, sunlight, walking. That is the foundation of health. If you have that, and then on top of that, you add supplements, then you're going to go really, really far. Farther than you could without supplements. But you need those things that I just mentioned as the foundation. If you do it the opposite way, you're not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna work. So books, it's kind of the same thing. It is not the foundation to changing your life, okay? This is not how the pyramid looks. The foundation to changing your life is taking action and going after your goals. And then on top of that, if you add books, then you can go really, really far. And a good book, like a great supplement, can be an amazing aid towards whatever goal you have. So, as I always say in all of my videos, try to avoid these black and white things, to go to these extremist views, to not be binary, like it's either this or it's either that, because there's always like the truth is kind of in the middle. So it's not like books are completely useless, and it's not like you should be reading books all day, which I know that this is not what Tai Lopez says. I'm not implying that Tai Lopez says that all you should be doing is reading books, just putting him as an example. So the truth is in the middle, which is that books are great if you know how and when to use them. Okay, so if you want book recommendations, check my website, but subscribe to the channel before you go. And for now, that's it, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. Take care. Peace.